Drew.
Nice to you. You're Stone Cold Steve Austin, man.
Alright, how's everybody doing today? Everybody's not paying attention? Thank God. This isn't going to be very funny, and the longer you look the other way, the better it's going to go for me. So everybody came out to see Quasi Flannel today, which is great. The only thing is they're not even full flannel, they're Quasi Flannel. They're like the Diet Coke of flannel. So if you ever watch, yeah, you don't get that. You know, this is actually the easiest thing I've ever done in my life, because I'm making like 3 people laugh, and everybody else is just talking about their lame days and Facebook. Well, thank God for Facebook. Now, the one thing I was reading earlier is all these like high school kids and stuff having kids, and that's like the biggest problem for them. They have all these problems, and when I was in high school, the only problem I had was trying to hide getting picked going to the board, because every time they needed to pick me, I had a boner. And that's not easy to hide. You know, you walk up to the board, you're just like this, Old Man Rivers, you're gonna write your little thing down, and then they're gonna ask you why you're hunched over. And luckily, math class was literally right after lunch, so it made perfect sense afterwards. Then afterwards, I could go to the bathroom and then beat myself silly. Some people just like to beat themselves silly. I like to beat myself till I spit, really. That's the easiest thing. This is actually not too shabby at all, because there's like maybe 2.5 people actually paying attention. I kind of like that. This is a lot easier. Shit, I could be in a rock band too. You know, they make that seem a lot easy. No, but Mike's a good guy, letting me come up and play. He does look like an oversized Stone Cold Steve Austin doll, though. So I'm waiting to see some of that go down. I've met the drummer a few times. I don't think his last name is Cho, but that's how I think about him. And he doesn't play with chopsticks. They're working on that. He does play with authentic drumsticks. And their bassist, he's a real cool, relaxed guy and everything, but he does dress just like any middle school kind of female dude. Like, that's cool that you're wearing your girlfriend's pants. I do like it. But I do like the flannel shirt. The flannel shirt is the way to go. You got like the husky schoolgirl look going on. So I do thank you for that. At least the band's in on the joke. I mean, geez, everybody else is just like, hey, I'm just gonna sit here and just keep smoking, and we're just gonna keep playing pool. I just like knocking some balls around. I got this big old shaft in my hand. This is a great time. Let's go sit at the bar and just have ourselves a few little drinks. Maybe we'll get some fruity drinks, or maybe we'll man up and get some Jack Daniels, because we're men like that. If they serve Jack Daniels and bacon, I'm in, of course. Every man's breakfast should be pancakes, sex, bacon, and Jack Daniels. Uh-oh. You know what this means now. Now that the music's down, I'm going to tell you, the secret to getting women is not roofies. It's actually laughter. Laughter works a lot like roofies. They kind of sit there, they think you're the greatest thing ever. Except they're allowed to move still, so it's not just like a dead fish, which some people are into, but it's a lot cheaper. You can tell them 2 jokes. You can tell them simple West Virginia redneck jokes, which if there are any here, I'm sorry, but you probably shop at Walmart, and it's stereotypical, all right? I do appreciate most people in this room have a full set of teeth. And now the thing is, what I'm curious about is I'm not from West Virginia. I was from up in New York, and if you're still salty about this, the Civil War, I apologize, we still won. But the thing is I didn't know any jokes about incest. Well, I mean, I did know about incest, but jokes and missing teeth from West Virginians, I had not a single idea until I actually came from West Virginia. I go into school, and they're like, hey, welcome to Jefferson High School. I just want you to know most of us are all related, and we don't like black people for some strange reason. And, you know, for some reason I was like, wait a minute, racist is still a thing here? And they're like, well, you know what? Now, they didn't talk that clearly. They had a big old fat lip in their mouth. I don't know if they just got knocked out or they had some good old-fashioned skull in. But yeah, they're like, listen here, we don't like their kind. And I'm like, okay, you stay away from me unless I need my truck fixed, then we'll talk about it, because you'll probably be able to help me. And if you could give me your number to your sister's cousin's sister cousin, whatever the hell you call it, That's pretty good too, because she's got at least 90% of her teeth, and that's about as good as I'm going to get around here. But really, I spent some time. I spent 6 years in Montana, and I'm not talking about prison years. I just say 6 years because that's about what it was. And this whole, I'm explaining this because the whole crying Indian thing is not really a thing anymore. If you go there, the reservation is the dirtiest place you will ever see besides going to just India. It is just nasty. There's dogs everywhere. There's trash everywhere. There's casinos, obviously. That is where they make all their money. But the thing is they're the only place in the country you can go to Subway and they have an extra meat that they don't tell you about, which is actually dog meat. And it's actually it's not too shabby. It's not too shabby at all. It's definitely better than the tuna. But no, Indians are savages. Indians are the same equivalent as rednecks are here. They have almost no teeth. They love to just walk around shirtless, even the big ones. They don't give two shits. Which, I mean, kudos to them. I'm sick and tired of watching people jump into a pool with a t-shirt on, because it's always a white shirt, and you can definitely tell what they're doing anyway. Listen, I don't care if you're a big guy or whatever, alright? I'm a little jealous that you can make bigger splashes than I can, and you just like to enjoy life. You don't have to wear a shirt, bud. But no, for real. All of the Indians are named either Big Anthony or Running Wolves, and they're just the equivalent to rednecks. They love Skull. They love each other's sisters, and they're pretty much nobody wants to be near them at all. They're just the rowdiest people ever, which it's not the worst thing. I mean, the Pabst Blue Ribbon needs to be run by somebody, and luckily there's enough rednecks and Indians out there to support them, so Pabst is still around. It is, 70% water, but it's like 99% cheap as shit. So I think it's the only beer that you can actually get with welfare. But that's just at current right now. You can get it with food stamps. But no, I shouldn't say so much about rednecks because that would be most of the people in this room. But the thing is I'm almost immortal because they're not listening anyway. I know, I'm very sorry about that. I wish I was sorry, but I'm sorry I'm not sorry. Getting a little dry up here. Goodness gracious. Jeez. Now I just have to do the gay voice again. It gets me kind of moist, because just saying the word moist has to get me all wet. This guy is the guy. He's the guy that everybody likes. He is the guy. He's the one guy that you want in your room. Everybody needs you in their bedroom as a motivational coach. Like, most guys are like, oh, there's no way. I'm at least 7 seconds into this. We're not going to make it to 10. And then this guy comes out of nowhere and he's like, keep going, you've got this. And that's when he makes the funny, like the weird, like eye-to-eye contact. And you get really, really weirded about it. So you're like at 40% boner. And then you're like, all right, I think I can do this. Thank you. You're the greatest guy ever. And then 4 seconds goes by and you're like, oh, where's that guy at? I don't know what I'm doing. This is really enjoyable. She's really doing something I want. And that's when he comes in again and you come again as well. But no, I haven't lived on this earth long enough to complain about wives or, like having children. I'm not like that. But the one experience I do have that is really weird is when you're trying to have a threesome. Now the thing is, you can't have it with somebody you really, 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 really know. You can't do it with best friends. It sounds like the best idea ever, but I promise you it's not. Because unless you're all blindfolded, which you could end up in pain anyway, because that's not going to go your way, it's going to be really awkward because you're just going to sit there and stare at each other's eyes. Because you're best friends and you're already in love with each other. We don't know what the hell she's doing here. But the first thing I advise you doing, though, is if you do need to get in that situation, just wear protection. Know how big your partner is so you know if you should be there or not. Because obviously, if you're not dominant male and he's just going to take the whole ride, you're just kind of sitting there like a little lap boy. You're just like, oh, good job. You just keep doing what you're doing. I'm just glad to be here. He said use the space, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use the space over here because no one's paying attention. I could sit here and I could do yoga. I could have somebody come up here right now. I could have a friend of mine come up here right now. I could take my scrotum, stretch it over like silly putty on his face, and just give him a scuba mask, and not a single person would realize I'm just standing up here stretching my scrotum over somebody's face. That's the coolest thing ever. You could get away with murder right now, and not a single person's paying attention. No, but serious, I do apologize that I'm not very funny. The thing is this is the first time I've done this, and the only other thing that I was really, really bad at was sex in general. I'm only going to talk about that because I'm young and I'm young-spirited, and I like to run around naked, so things do happen that way. But the thing is the first time, they don't tell you anything in sex education classes, alright? They don't give you the spiel on anything. They're not telling you, hey, you really need to push it in there, or hey, you should probably do something to get her really, really good. So I tried. My first attempt was more of a, like, when you're trying to plug something in the dark, but the friggin' outlet is flipped upside down and you just can't get it and you just keep pushing in and pushing in. So you take your hand and you kind of feel the dongles and then you feel the holes and you're like, alright, yeah, no, this is matched up. No, that shit never went in at all. I tried 4 times and it just she ended up breaking me to Subway, and I was the happy one and she was kind of upset because I had no idea what I was doing. That's the thing that school systems are really failing you now, sex education. I don't know how these young kids are having sex, because I don't even know how to do it, even though I've done it a few times. I'm just like, hey lady, you know where this has to go, and if you allow me to decide where it's going, I'm going to be like Ray Charles. This shit's going in blind, and I don't know where it's going to be. So if you don't want it, anywhere you don't want it, you should probably take the lead on this. And I do say this from experience. I took the lead one time. She told me to slow down. I realized I was in the danger zone, but I was having a great time. She was a nice lady about it. I thank her for that. But no, a couple of things that they're misleading in sex education nowadays is they tell you, okay, you're gonna get older, you're gonna get hair on your body, your voice is gonna get lower. But what they don't tell you is like the exact specifics of everything. Like one, living not in your parents' house sucks. You have no more money. That shit like paycheck gone. It's non-existent anymore. Another thing is when you're growing up, yes, you do get hair all over your body. What they don't tell you is you're gonna have a damn bush growing out of your ass. And yes, every time you wipe, you're gonna take away most of that hair off of the off of the toilet paper. And it is the worst feeling ever. But the one thing I've had real big problems with lately is every time I take a shit, have you ever turned around, looked at it and said, yeah, I could probably take a dick if I really needed to. Like if for some reason I was put in that situation, taking shits like that's no problem. Like my dick is like a third the size of that. I have no issues with that. Like if I was ever been sent to prison, I'd be like, you know, this'll be okay. I'm pretty alright with this because I've handled much worse and I've had much worse problems with the stomach anyway. Or if they're huge, which a lot of guys can be, mostly them black guys that want to take you down, what I would advise is you just walk around with your pants constantly just shitted in, because that way you've got 2 things going for you. One, it's like a deterrent. It's almost like bug spray. If you just have shit in your pants, no one's going to rape you. Or 2, if somebody is going to go that far to rape you, you got some lubricant at least, because I don't know about you, normally my ass is dry, but if I'm walking around with shit in my pants, I'm about to get raped, I mean, we're not going to have the worst time ever. It's just going to be a little weird because I'm still new and he wants to do everything he wants to do. So at that point, it's mostly for the man. Alright, so everybody knows that I'm just up here babbling. I'm talking about, you know, boners and standing too close to the speaker, so it's making that whoa noise. So, the sound guy's over here like, if you could just step back, just take a step back, just another step. He's not even fucking looking over here. I don't even know why I'm saying this to him. I'm just gonna keep playing with these dongles. That's fair enough. So, lesson 1, when you're coming up on stage, don't fuck with that guy, because he'll shut you down right away. Alright guys, So most of the people that came here today want to hear some rock and roll music. They want to hear, you know, Chobe banging on some drums over here. They want to hear Andy Savage come back up here. Bono's in the house. He's wearing the headband. That's friggin' sweet. I thought he was like in Africa or dead, but he's still kicking it down here at Longshots. So, yeah. All right, guys. We're gonna be hitting up the band soon. It's gonna be Quasi Flannel. They're pretty badass. They're pretty much the same definition